5 years from now, you'll look back and either whisper, "I changed everything," or sigh, "Nothing moved." That split comes from a single choice you face every morning. It takes less than 10 minutes, but its effect stretches across years of your life. It isn't about chasing new tools or pushing harder. It's about a decision made in the very first moments after you wake. I'll show you exactly how to trade those fragile minutes for a simple ritual, one you can repeat every day, to plant the seed of a new identity. And it begins with the cost of pressing snooze. Have you ever noticed how hitting snooze feels like a tiny kindness to yourself, as if you're stealing just a little more rest before the day begins? 9 minutes seems too small to matter, so you let it pass without a thought. But that small pause can quietly shape years of your life. Think of each press as signing a silent contract, not for rest, but for remaining the same. The button is sold as comfort, as a doorway back to peace. Yet what it really creates is a loop. You rise, you fall, you rise again, each time less ready than before. The pattern looks harmless, but it mirrors how you often postpone more serious changes. Waiting until you feel ready, waiting for the right moment, waiting for life to shift on its own. Here's the truth made plain. When you hit snooze, you rehearse staying small. You tell yourself you'll step forward, but instead you pause again and again until the pause becomes permanent. That delay doesn't crash down all at once, it drips. Picture a faucet that never shuts off. Drop after drop falls, quietly, endlessly. At first it looks trivial, even laughable. But day by day, gallons collect. That is your time leaking away. 9 minutes feels like nothing, but across 1 year alone it piles into more than 3,000 minutes, dozens of hours, slipped through without notice. You don't just trade minutes of sleep. You trade entire projects, skills, and memories that never begin. There's also a shift in your mind itself that makes those minutes even more costly. When you first wake, the brain is already preparing, sweeping away fog, readying focus. But when you drift back under, you drag yourself into what researchers call inertia, the sluggishness that lingers when your system restarts twice. Inertia doesn't replenish you. It robs you of clarity, leaving you duller, slower, and less creative than if you had simply risen the first time. So the extra minutes don't offer more strength. They strip it. And what looks like self-care is actually self-sabotage, blurring the sharpest edge of your energy right at the start. Notice what is really happening. That sleepy hand on the button is not about rest. It is about permission. The permission to shrink back from your own day. The very smallness of the act makes it dangerous, because what seems harmless gently bends the shape of whole years. But here is the power hidden in this realization. If something so small can tilt an entire life toward delay, then making the opposite choice can tilt it toward momentum. Rising with the first alarm is not just getting up. It's a declaration, a decision that the first battle of the day belongs to you. Those 9 minutes are not free. They may actually be the most expensive minutes you ever spend, because in wasting them, you waste more than time. You sacrifice the most powerful state your mind gives you each morning. And that tiny choice cost you the most precious gift of all, your brain's first hour. What if there was a moment each morning when your mind was at its most open and impressionable, like soft, wet cement, waiting for the first marks to define its shape? That moment exists. It is the golden hour of your brain. When you wake, your inner world is unformed. Your thoughts have not yet hardened into habit, distraction, or urgency. In those first breaths of the day, your system stirs, energy signals move through your frame, and natural chemicals prime your mind for clarity and direction. Studies show your brain can be up to 40% more focused in the first 90 minutes after waking. That means even small actions in those minutes have magnified power, setting a tone that echoes far beyond the morning. But here's the catch. Most people never use it. Instead of shaping intention, the first voice their mind hears is the glow of a screen. And when that happens, the foundation of the day sets around noise, not purpose. Later, when focus is needed, they wonder why clarity slips through their hands. Think of this hour as programming a computer at startup. The system boots, and it loads the first files it touches. If what it loads is chaos, the whole machine slows, resists, stutters. If it loads clean code, momentum builds fast. Your brain works the same way. That first pattern becomes the code the rest of the day runs on. And because your mental bandwidth is finite, the timing matters. The road of your attention is widest in the morning. Later, it clogs with demands, responsibilities, and noise. So when you spend even 5 quiet minutes guiding your focus early, they carry more force than scattered hours later. These minutes act like seeds that unfold steadily as your day stretches forward. This daily gift is easy to miss, but it is always renewed. Whether you embraced it yesterday or wasted it in distraction, the universe offers you another chance each morning. Before the cement hardens, before the noise arrives, you are given one clear window to choose what your inner world will be aligned with. So the question is simple. If this fragile window carries such weight, what will you pour into it? Imagine the difference if instead of swiping endlessly, you breathed with awareness, wrote down one guiding thought, moved your body, or prayed. The smallest actions in that space do not stay small. They ripple outward, shaping every task and every choice that follows. That is why we call this the golden hour brain. It's not just a poetic phrase. It is the rarest leverage point you ever receive, an open system, a blank page, a wide road ready for your direction, and it rests in your hands each morning. Now the next step is knowing how to protect that hour and put it to work. Here's one simple ritual you can use to guard your golden hour and turn it into steady change. Imagine beginning each day with a rhythm so light you can actually keep it, yet powerful enough to shift who you are becoming. This is the essence of the 5 a.m. ritual. Not a rigid system, not a burden of checklists, but 5 simple actions that anchor you before the noise of the world arrives. They can be finished quickly, yet their influence stretches across your entire day. The first step is water. 1 glass the moment you wake clears the fog of sleep and signals your body that night is over and energy is returning. The second step is movement. A few stretches, some deep breaths, or even short steps across the room awaken circulation and remind you that life begins in motion. Third is writing 1 goal. Only 1. That single target focuses your wandering will into a sharp beam. 1 target trains your discipline. It's the daily vote for who you want to be. The fourth step is learning. A brief passage of reading or a short practice session feeds your mind before distractions arrive. You give yourself something nourishing, not noise. And the fifth step is protect. No screens, no emails, no feeds. Protecting means you guard your focus and priorities before opening the gates to everything else. Pause and notice. Which of these 5 feels hardest for you? Keep that in mind as we go on. This ritual seems almost too small to matter, yet that is what makes it endure. Habits collapse when they feel heavy. Habits stay when they feel simple. These 5 actions are steady enough that you repeat them, and repetition is what reshapes identity. Think of the one written goal again. It looks like such a small note, but it's the magnifying glass effect. A scattered list diffuses your energy across too many directions, but one focused beam grows hot enough to cut through resistance. Each morning you write that single goal, you train the muscle of attention. You teach your mind that consistency carves character. Every small act here is a vote for a larger self. Water is a vote for health. Movement is a vote for energy. One goal is a vote for clarity. Learning is a vote for growth. Protecting is the vote to guard your inner life from the storm outside. One vote may seem invisible, but thousands of them add up to a result you cannot ignore. Over time, these quiet ballots grow into the story of who you are becoming. The final step, protect, deserves special weight. This is where so many break. The urge to check the glowing screen feels irresistible. But if you look before you anchor yourself, the world begins coding your day for you. Protecting is gentle gatekeeping. It is saying, before anyone else tells me what matters, I will decide. That one choice seals the spirit of this ritual. Notice how different these small actions are from big annual resolutions. Resolutions often collapse at the first obstacle because they only live in intention. Rituals survive because they weave into daily rhythm. The universe rewards repetition, not rare declarations. Each morning becomes another chance to align with the person you seek to embody. This is why identity shifts here feel subtle at first, but powerful as they accumulate. You are not only doing tasks, you are casting votes. And soon the balance tips until your identity no longer feels like effort, but like second nature. And once you see that, the next realization becomes hard to ignore. If even a handful of minutes can shape who you are, what might an entire hour each morning create when multiplied over years? That is where the path now leads. What if the first quiet hour of your morning could slowly assemble an entirely new version of you? Not through sudden breakthroughs or dramatic resolutions, but by compounding minutes into months of intentional living. One steady hour, held each day, is 365 hours by year's end. That equals about 15 full days carved out of distraction and devoted to your own growth. Stretch that across 5 years and you've given yourself roughly 75 days, 2.5 months, where the focus was not on the world's demands, but on your becoming. But here's the catch. How you spend that hour determines the shape it takes in you. If it goes to scrolling, you aren't just burning time, you're rehearsing distraction and letting noise sink roots into your mind. In one version of your life, the alarm rings, you reach for the phone, and the next 60 minutes dissolve into fragments of posts and stories that vanish as quickly as they appear. Nothing carries over but restlessness. In the other version, you move with purpose. You hydrate, stretch, frame one goal, learn something new, and protect your focus. Those same 60 minutes harden into clarity, resilience, and vision. Two identical chunks of time, yet two futures that couldn't be more different. Think of it as a jar you fill with droplets of water each morning. At first, a few drops look like nothing at all. The glass bottom barely shifts. You doubt it matters. But keep adding, and soon the level rises. Over months, it fills, then spills, until what once seemed trivial becomes a lake. That lake is your environment, the place you live from every day. Each hour you give to the ritual is another drop. Repeated, it becomes the water you stand in, the atmosphere that sustains you. Identity works the same way. Early choices feel small, fragile, like planting seeds in bare soil. At first, you only see dirt. The change hides underground, but repetition builds roots, and in time, sprouts break the surface. Seasons later, the forest grows, a strong, steady truth that once began as almost nothing. The hours are seeds. Who you become is the forest. Now, bring the picture closer. Place yourself 5 years ahead. Look into the mirror of that future. Who stands before you? In one vision, you notice the muscle of discipline, the lightness in your health, the steady confidence of a mind that can trust itself. You can trace those qualities back to the daily drops, the seeds, the hours you claimed. In the other vision, years have passed the same, but your reflection sighs. The hours slipped into snooze buttons, endless scrolls, half-started intentions, and they left behind drift instead of growth. You cannot stop time from moving. 5 years will arrive no matter what. But who will you meet when it does? That is the only part left in your hands. So ask yourself plainly, in 5 years, who do you want to recognize in the mirror? Remember, hours accumulate into mastery. Not mastery of anyone else's life, but mastery of your own. Each dedicated morning feels small in isolation, but stacked together they become tuition paid into your future self. After years of faithful payment, it's as if you've earned a new degree, but this time, the field of study is you. If this feels overwhelming, make it a test. Try it for 90 days, just one season. Protect one simple hour before the world intrudes, and then stand back and notice the subtle shifts. The universe speaks loud through quiet consistency, and 90 days is enough to hear the beginnings of its reply. So the invitation is simple. With each sunrise, the same fork appears. Not flashy, not complicated, just 2 ways forward. Snooze or no snooze. The path you walk is decided right there in the silence of your first choice. And that first choice is what opens or closes the door to everything that follows. Small hinges turn great doors, and the hinge before you may be nothing more than how you rise tomorrow. That first hour can either slip or shape, depending on the choice you make with it. So here is the invitation. Try it for 90 days. Treat those mornings as an experiment in becoming. If you're ready, type the word 5 in the comments as your promise to set the alarm and honor that hour. And if this message speaks to you, like and subscribe so you don't miss what's ahead. Picture your future self waiting. Will you be ready to meet them?